Yo, Scott Blakely Bassoon Studios here. Let me ask you something. This ever happened to you? You pick up your bassoon or your saxophone or whatever double or single reed instrument you play, and something just doesn't feel right, man. So of course, if people are watching, you do this big performance of disgust. Oh, what's going on? Then you see, there's a freaking crack in the reed. Oh, so what are you gonna do? You gonna just throw it away? Okay, Mr. Rockefeller. Let me tell you something. I grew up in the 90s. Back then, we had a thing called grunge, and it was a musical revolution. I'm talking Nirvana, Sonic Youth, Dinosaur Jr., Babes in Toyland. We wore flannel shirts and ripped jeans, and when our Doc Martens wore out, we duct taped those fuckers back together. Do you think Jay Mascis or Courtney Love would throw away a perfectly good bassoon reed just because it has a crack in it? Hell no. Let's fix this motherfucker. We only need a couple materials. We need some super glue. I've used crazy glue. I've used glue from the Dollar Tree. What matters is that it's a liquid glue, not a gel. You're going to want something you're going to be able to use a very small amount of, and that you're going to be able to wipe away the excess really quickly. Speaking of wiping away excess, we also need a little bit of sandpaper. I use 400 grit. I wouldn't use anything rougher than 220 or anything smoother than 600, to be perfectly honest. But I like 400. I think it might work a little bit better to do this when the reed is wet. I don't know why. I just feel like I've had better luck. So I'll open up my glue here. This particular brand, you open the seal by poking this thing. And that way you can really have a small amount come out. And that's ideal. So for bassoon and oboe reeds, I think it's best to use a plaque. I've lived on the edge and done this without a plaque a bunch of times. But the danger is gluing the two blades together, especially if the crack is more off to the side. Now, the danger, of course, of using a plaque is that you could glue the plaque to the reed, and that would be a big problem. So I'm going to take a piece of foil. Everybody knows this, right? That the less shiny side is the non-stick side of foil, right? Yeah, of course. That's common knowledge. Everybody knows that. So I'm going to try to make it very smooth and just, wrap my plaque in some foil. There we go. It's also important, if you want to increase your success rate, to do this as soon as possible. Because the bigger the crack is, obviously, the less likely this is to work. And if you play on a cracked reed, like I just did a moment ago, or if you throw it over your shoulder, like I just did a moment ago, yeah, this has gotten a lot bigger. So we'll see if this works. Let me explain this ahead of time because it's going to happen. It's going to happen fast. We got to work quick when we're working with super glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small amount of glue along the entire length of the crack. When I put the glue on, I'm not going to be squeezing the reed or anything like that. Then I'm immediately going to take some sandpaper and wipe off the excess. Now here's the danger. I can get glue on my fingers. Not a big deal unless, well, it's a lot of glue. And then I'm going to start pushing the reed together because you gotta actually stick, sort of close that crack up. I really need this to be a very thin layer of glue. And of course, I also have to pull the plaque out. It's all gonna happen very fast. Whoo-wee, that's a big crack. Let's see if it works. Well, crack goes all the way down here. Okay. That was already probably more glue than I needed. I'm just holding it together. You can see my finger stuck a little bit, but it's okay. And I want to hold this for, I don't know, like 35 seconds, enough to just kind of gab on about something. I can't even see the crack right now. I will be able to see the crack when this is done. The idea is this is preventing the crack from getting worse, from sometimes we can play with a reed that has a crack and it seems fine, but if you fix the crack right away, it won't get any bigger. And if you don't, all the vibration is going to make that crack a lot bigger. Oh good, my finger is not sticking. That was okay. So yeah, that was probably about 30 seconds. Yeah, okay, now I can still see the crack. It just was my angle, I guess, all right? But it looks like this has been glued even though the super glue pretty much does its thing in a matter of seconds, give it a few minutes. It's not going to need more than that. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes, but through the magic of video editing, you don't have to wait with me. I'm a little nervous because if you look closely, you can see that it's not perfectly aligned, especially since this was such a big crack. It probably was a result of me, squeezing on the sides of the reed. And of course, if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't glue together. So this might actually be okay. All right, so I've waited a few minutes. I can really feel the glue there. So here's my clean sandpaper. I want to sand off as much of this excess as I can. Sometimes I've even used a reed knife, and you can continue to adjust your reed after this. Although, it's obviously you gotta be a little extra careful with it. I'm really trying to sand. All right, yeah. So we can still see a crack, but it's not actually splitting anymore. I'm gonna put it in the water and give it a try. All right, so my reeds had a few minutes to dry. I'm nervous because I don't have another cracked reed to do this with right now, and I'm not gonna crack a reed just cause I'm not that grunge. So let's see if this works. It's crowing. It's crowing, and I don't know if I crowed it before. Yeah, the response is so much better than it was a moment ago. Is this reed perfect? No, although I could still try to adjust it. Didn't get a high F, but I got a high E. That's pretty good, right? The reed plays. It plays again. It's so much better. It's not a bad reed. Is it my best reed right now? I don't think so. What if the bassoonists don't believe me? Look, this really is the reed with the crack in it. You can see that, right? Yeah, I know you can. That's what I'm playing on now. I haven't even done any other adjustments to it since I put that glue on. Wait a second, though. We saved the reed, but how toxic is superglue? I don't know. I'm not a doctor or a toxicologist. I think if you do this rarely, and again, use as little glue as possible, I don't think it causes any drain damage. Don't crack your reeds on purpose, because it's probably not going to last as long as a reed that was never cracked to begin with. But it works, right? Works pretty good. Thank you guys for watching! Why don't I have more subscribers? Because subscribers are followers. I don't need followers. I mean, it'd be kind of nice, I guess. Whatever. You see the buttons. Do what you want. I'm gonna go find a mosh pit and smash some pumpkins.